Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Jack of all interests, and no, my name is still not Jack, I'm actually Alex, but I still have a lot of interests, and one of those interests is actually travel. I love traveling. I've been to 30 countries already, and today I want to speak about the latest country I was in, and that is Japan. So, today I want to give you a heads up, a sort of a guide, an ultimate guide, what to expect from Japan, what should you consider, what you should do before traveling, and when you arrive to Japan, how to get around, and all of the ins and outs that you should keep in mind. And hopefully, this video will help you to be prepared for your Japan travel. And of course, if you like it, if it was useful, hit a like, subscribe, do all those bells and whistles that everyone else is also asking you to do on their channels. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, I've decided that I need to change my shirt to a Japanese one. So, a shirt straight from Japan. So I think it's more appropriate to wear it during this episode, video, vlog. I don't know how to call it. Nevertheless, so first thing that you need to consider when you plan to go to Japan is the season. So let's start with winter. So the winter season in Japan, not really a vacation period, or for instance a very sought after period, because, well, for instance, on the north there's actually snow in Japan. If for instance you're into travel during winter, you like skiing, for instance, or visiting countries during these beautiful snowy seasons, for instance, you would like to go to snowy mountains, so I guess this is the perfect solution for you. And also there's a great benefit coming to Japan during the winter season. The prices are much lower, so the tickets, the travel itself, the prices will be lower. Accommodation also, the prices will be lower. So if, for instance, you're on a budget and you want to visit Japan, but you don't want to break the bank, well, you can go there really during winter season, yeah? And for instance, the more south you go, the less cold it will be. And actually, in the southern parts of Japan, you might even enjoy your stay in Japan even more than other seasons, because it's not, for instance, hot. So the next one is spring. So spring is hot season of Japan in terms of tourism. So everyone, and I mean like everyone, wants to come to Japan during the season because sakura is blossoming. So spring is very beautiful in Japan, but you have to take into account that everyone wants to go there during the season, so there will be a ton of tourists. And at the end of April and beginning of May, also Japanese have the Golden Week, where they also have weekends. So if you go at this specific time there, well, you can imagine what it will be. Millions of tourists, millions of Japanese, all together enjoying sakura, so you won't even find a place where to simply sit and enjoy sakura, because it will be super overcrowded absolutely everywhere. So I wouldn't really recommend going during the Golden Week, but it's the hot season. Everyone wants to go there, so you still can expect crowds, lines absolutely everywhere. And of course, higher prices. So tickets are more expensive when you go there during March and April. And also accommodation, well, prices will be higher. So you need to take into account that as well. Then there is this short window when it's really good to go there if you want to still enjoy lush greenery, you want to enjoy mild weather. It's mid and end of May and beginning of June. So it's a great possibility to go to Japan in this short window because the weather is really awesome. That's when I and my wife went to Japan. So it's around 20-22 degrees. It's not scorching hot. Sometimes it was raining. You shouldn't really worry about that because it's even better if you want to go sightseeing all over the places, do 20,000 steps per day. This is the perfect time frame window to go to Japan, because the weather is amazing, everything is already green. There are less tourists because all of those tourists that came to check out Sakura, they already left. But of course, don't expect miracles. Japan is a very sought after destination, so there will be a lot of tourists, but much less during the Sakura blossoming period. Then we come to summer, and even Japanese people, they say that don't come to Japan during summer because it's scorching hot there. And also summer is the rain season. So during already June, July, and also August, there's a lot of rainfall, and it's also very hot. So right now in Japan, it's 33-35 degrees and it's raining like all of the time, so you can expect very high humidity, and it's very hard to enjoy your travel when it's scorching hot and at the same time it's also raining. Of course there are like sunny days, but then it's simply scorching hot and the humidity is super high. If you come from very hot countries like Spain, Italy, maybe Turkey, Greece, or I don't know, maybe South America, maybe if you're used to very hot seasons and very hot weather, you can actually enjoy summer. You can actually save some money because summer season isn't like the peak tourist season like spring, so you can actually save some money on everything. Yeah, so accommodation, flight. One more thing that you need to keep in mind, that summer in Japan lasts up to September, including September. September is still a hot month as well. And now moving on to the last ones, autumn, or fall. So fall season is amazing for traveling to Japan because the hot season is over. The temperatures are mild, but still it is warm enough really to enjoy. So it could be like 20, even maybe somewhere 25 degrees. Of course, if you take, for instance, December, and December is still considered like an autumn month. So if you even take December, yeah, it will be still quite cozy to go to Japan. So 3 months, October, November, December, when you can go there and enjoy simply mesmerizing views of Japan with the leaves being gold, red. So the maple leaves, for instance, in Japan are red. Like the scenery will be simply stunning. It is considered like a peak tourist season as well, but it has less tourists than, for instance, spring during the sakura blossoming season. You can expect a little bit lower prices than in spring, but still those prices will be a bit higher when it comes to flights and accommodation. So you have to choose when to go there. So now that you know when you want to go to Japan, the next thing that you need to think of is the itinerary. So where you want to go in Japan. So most of people, when they come to Japan for the very first time, they go to the Golden Route. I think it's called like that. So basically Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, or the other way around. So it doesn't really matter. So me and my wife did it. So we decided that we actually want to check out Tokyo because this is the biggest city in the world. Then we also want to check out Kyoto because this is the historical city of Japan. And also Osaka because it's a bustling city, it's more like party-like. So we wanted to go to all of those places. But of course, you can also pick like maybe 1 to 2 other cities, for instance, Nara. Everyone also goes to Nara when they first visit Japan. And also mini cities, I would say, for instance, we wanted to go to Kamakura or Kamakura, I'm not sure how it's spelled correctly. So on the seaside or ocean side, I think it's more it's more like ocean already. Yeah, I think it's ocean. So it's very beautiful, but unfortunately we were so tired after 4 days in Tokyo and also next to Mount Fuji, so we decided to have a rest. Though honestly, you cannot really have a rest in Japan. So for when you're coming for the first time, you'll be like going circles, 20,000 steps per day minimum. Yeah, so still we didn't get much needed rest, but fortunately after that we did. But yeah, I digress. So yeah, you can go to a smaller city for one day, like Kamakura. A lot of people are going there as well because it's not far from Tokyo. And also we wanted, for instance, to go to Hiroshima, but once again, well, some things happen sometimes. Unfortunately, we didn't go there, but we quickly found a different solution. I guess, like, a word of advice from my side, don't try to cover absolutely everything on your first go to Japan, like on your first travel. Honestly, it's impossible. So when I was making the itinerary, I've noticed that I have so many temples that I want to visit, and that well, for the majority of the trip I will be visiting only temples. So I doubled down on those temples because all of them are beautiful, of course, but well, it's impossible to visit them all, especially like in Tokyo. There's so many of them, and also in Kyoto. So don't try to visit absolutely everything. Pick for instance, some temples, also some other attractions, for instance, the making of Harry Potter, or for instance, the Disney World. Yeah, so, and devote like one day for one thing, devote one day for another thing, and don't try to cover absolutely everything, because honestly it's impossible. So there's so many things to do in Japan, so make sure to really plan your itinerary in such a way that you are not really rushing to all of the sites, because you need to enjoy Japan, because it is worth it. Don't try to cover absolutely everything. And well, from my side I can say that well, simply go to Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka. It will be completely enough. If you feel that well, you want something more, maybe go also to Kamakura, maybe Hiroshima, or another smaller city, but don't try to once again capture them all like Pokemon. Yeah, so it's impossible. Maybe only if you're staying for 1 month. So during a 2 week stay, we didn't go to two places, as I said before, because well, we were all way over our head. So plan the itinerary as such. If you're going to Japan, of course, the second time, well, this video I guess is not for you, because you already know all the ins and outs. And of course, during your second stay in Japan, you can explore many other places in Japan that are lesser known. So when it comes to different kinds of attractions in Japan, such as the Disney World, or Universal Studios, the making of Harry Potter, and many other attractions, make sure to book everything in advance, because they get sold out. When we traveled to Japan, so everything was okay, because I've booked absolutely everything, so way in advance. So everything was perfect, and make sure to do that. If you plan to visit Fujisan, Mount Fuji, you also should buy bus tickets like a week in advance. So I will also leave the link in the description below where I was buying those tickets, so that you don't have to search for everything. It's quite easy to buy them. You just need to know from where you want to go there, and which is like the final bus stop. You need to know that, and it's quicker, I would say, than, for instance, trying to go there by trains, because you'll have to make a lot of stops and changes. So bus is the way to go, for instance. At least it was for us when it came to Mount Fuji. So buy tickets in advance. And also what you can actually do, you can also check whether Mount Fuji will be visible. Yes, Mount Fuji sometimes is very shy, and when we were next to Mount Fuji, I was checking and monitoring on a specific website. Once again, I will leave it in the description below. We were monitoring whether Mount Fuji will be visible, and there was only one day
till noon when it was visible. And unfortunately, we came a little bit later and it was completely covered in clouds. But thankfully, so the gods of Japan saw our suffering that we didn't see Mount Fuji with our eyes when we were flying from Tokyo to Osaka. We saw Mount Fuji from the plane, and it was simply stunning. So yeah, but also monitor whether you will actually see Mount Fuji before you buy the bus tickets to Mount Fuji.
Time to talk about accommodation. Yeah, so of course you should look for hotels, hostels, Airbnbs way in advance. So, but here are some things that you need to keep in mind. So, as the Japanese population is simply huge, and for instance, Tokyo is such a uh, gigantic city. So most of the time, hotel rooms and most of the Airbnbs, or for instance, if you're using Booking.com, so basically the flats, most of the time they are quite small, really small. So if you're used to big rooms, well, in Japan, you have to search for them. So when you're booking a hotel room or, for instance, a flat, check the sizes of the rooms because they might feel that they're like okay-ish on the pictures, but in reality they're super small. And for instance, two of your pieces of luggage, for instance, if you're traveling two of you, sometimes it's even hard to open them up because there is no space really for that luggage. So you should also check whether the rooms are big enough. And also, word of advice when booking hotels, rooms, and etc., try to book them near subway stations. What we did, and actually we failed in, is that we booked a flat outside the like main ring of subway stations in Tokyo. And each day we had to take at least two buses to go to the subway station and from the subway station back to our home. And it resulted in like additional expenses because subway tickets aren't included on the subway passes. Yeah, so and we spent a lot on buses just to get around the city back and forth to the subway station and from the subway station back to our flat. So word of advice, check whether a subway station is near. Otherwise you have to walk a lot or you have to simply spend additional money on traveling by bus to your locations. So another thing that you need to keep in mind, that another part that is super amazing is simply shopping in Japan, because a lot of things are actually more affordable than in most of countries, like than for instance in Europe and many other countries. It might be really less expensive to buy tech, different kinds of souvenirs, and etc. Of course, all Kit Kats in the world are in Japan, matchas, and etc. So make sure to take empty suitcases with you to Japan. Take as less of things as possible. Really, we did that. And thank God we did it like that, because we bought so many things, my God, and it took so much space in our luggage. And thankfully, we could actually pack everything in such a way, really, to so that everything fitted. We were on the edge when it came to weight that was allowed on the plane. So bring empty suitcases, really. Everyone is telling about it. I'm also telling about it. When it comes to Japan, you will spend a lot of money on different kinds of souvenirs and stuff because it is super affordable there. Well, you will need that space in your luggage.
Or simply buy luggage in Japan itself, because you can buy used or even new luggage in Japan for a fraction of a price, for instance, compared to many European countries, and it will be also quite good quality, and you simply travel without like millions of bags with you, so it is much easier to travel if you simply don't take the luggage to Japan and only buy it there and then just travel back with all of your amazing souvenirs from Japan. So it's another option. Another question that you might have, for instance, when you arrive to Japan, you and you came with like large suitcases, but you cannot really check in into the hotel or, for instance, your Airbnb, your flat that you booked. What are the options? Where can you place that? Your luggage, baggage, whatever. So there are actually multiple options. So in the subway stations, there are actually lockers where you can simply put your luggage, and it's not super expensive. It could be like somewhere around like 700 yen to maybe 8,000 yen. So it's basically like maybe like 4 to 6 euros to put it there for 24 hours, I think. Yeah, so that's one way. But if they are, well, they're already locked, so they're occupied. There are also options with different companies that simply allow storing your luggage, baggage. Yeah, so it's another option. So you can just check it by Googling it, or for instance, using Google Maps and simply check in that kind of way. There's a separate app that I will also include in below. So in the description, where you can simply check all of the places that are around you, where you can simply place your luggage there. Or the best place where to really put it is actually information centers. So there, it might be a little bit more expensive, but come on, you traveled so far, and simply going around the city till you have the opportunity to go to the hotel with big, gigantic suitcases. Come on, leave it in the information center, which we actually did when we came to Tokyo. Tokyo and other major cities of Japan sometimes aren't so welcoming when it comes to like carrying your luggage. So in many subway stations, you might not find, for instance, elevators, or for instance, they're occupied. Sometimes it's quite hard to find those elevators. And for instance, if you're traveling from Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka with a Shinkansen, so on those bullet trains, there isn't much designated space for luggage, and you might face a situation where you cannot really put it anywhere. And for instance, if you don't want to go with your luggage also on a flight, because, well, for luggage, most of the time you have to also pay extra, there is an amazing service in Japan that simply can take your luggage and send it to the next destination. So majorities of hotels accept your luggage if it's sent with those services. And I will also leave the name of the service that I used. It takes around a day to simply for them to get your luggage to the destination.
Some other things that you should take into account when you're visiting Japan. Well, first thing is that the plugs are different, so that, or they might be different from your country. So I live in Europe, I live in Latvia. We have the Euro plug. So Japan has I guess like Japanese/US plug. So they use, I think, 110, 120 volts instead of 220, 230 volts like we do here. Most of the adapters, like for an iPhone, or I guess also for an Android phone and other electronics, they can work on both grids. So they work with 110, 120, or like 220 or 230. But the plug is different. So make sure to buy an appropriate adapter in order to use all of your chargers. So now you know when you want to go to Japan, you've set up your itinerary with all of the places that you want to visit. And of course, there comes the moment when you finally board the plane and simply fly to Japan. So before that, of course, what you need to do, you need to fill in a form before you come to Japan. There are two ways of doing it. Either you do it on the plane itself, or you do it online. So I would suggest you to do it online. So there's a website. I will leave the link in the description below, where you can simply submit the immigration form online. You straight away can get the QR code that is necessary to for the border control, and also you can simply create your QR code for tax-free, for instance, if you're eligible for tax-free. Of course, if you need a visa, so check if you need a visa, because a lot of countries, for instance, for Latvia, if you're a citizen of Latvia, you don't need a visa. But make sure to check whether you need it. If you need it, of course, apply for a visa. If you don't need it, so you should just fill in the immigration form. So at the customs, you simply show it, they scan it, they see all of your documents, you give the documents, so you know the drill, just like with other countries. So you just need to, submit this form. Submit it, okay, good. Now, congratulations, you are in Japan. So what's the next thing that you need to do? When it comes to Japan, when you plan to travel extensively to different locations, so of course you can buy tickets in the ticket machines. So it looks basically like this. And but it's quite a hassle to buy these tickets all of the time. So what I would suggest you to do, of course, to make a card. So Suica, welcome Suica, it's also called, or for instance Pasmo. So these cards are basically top-up cards that you can top up with money, and you can simply pay for all of your travels in Japan. So I think only for Shinkansen you cannot pay it with it, but the monorails, the regular trains, subways, buses, they all accept, for instance, welcome Suica, and Pasmo. So if you have an Android phone, so you will need a physical card that you can get out of these like machines there, but there sometimes is a problem. They lack those cards, and then you will have to buy those tickets, unfortunately, yes, separately. But if you are with an iPhone, you got lucky, because on the iPhone you can simply download the Welcome Suica app, and you can simply top up your Suica wallet or like Suica card with Apple Pay. So for Apple users, it's super straightforward. You basically get another card with which you can pay for your travels in Japan. It works across all of the Japan, as I understand. And you can actually pay for goods. For instance, you can pay in 7-Eleven, Lawson's, and etc. for food. And I think it's accepted quite widely all over the places in Japan. So when you arrive at the airport, you can activate your Welcome Suica on your iPhone, or get one in that ticket machine in order to go to the cities. Then again, there's a possibility to save some money. And how to do it? So you can actually buy subway passes for 1, 2, and I think maximum is 3 days. Sometimes also buses are included in Osaka or Kyoto. You have to check it, and you can buy these passes, for instance, on Klook. So this is an app that we use to buy different kinds of tickets to, for instance, the Warner Bros. Making of Harry Potter, but you can also buy these passes there as well. About those passes, they can really allow you to save a lot of money. For the most of the time we were traveling on the subway. That way we saved a lot of money. So here, of course, you can make some calculations. How often do you plan to take the subway? Yeah, so you can make those calculations. For instance, Google Maps straight away shows how much it will cost, which is super amazing. That way I've calculated that I will save a lot of money if I use only the subway. But Google Maps can actually show you other routes that use not the subway, but for instance, a train. So this pass doesn't work with the train. For the train, you have to pay with Suica, Welcome Suica, or Passmo. Yeah, so you have to pay it separately. And for instance, when you're using Google Maps specifically in Tokyo, you straight away will see the lines of the metro. They have like letters like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and etc. and etc. They also are like round, so they're in a circle, those letters in different colors. That way you can actually check whether you're on the right line. So you can simply check the letter, what color it is, and based on that, and also a number, and based on that, you can very easily check on Google Maps whether you're on the right path, I would say. So they go from 1 to 10 or like whatever, or vice versa. Yeah, so that way you can check whether you're in the right direction. So it's very easy in Tokyo. In Osaka, it's a little bit trickier. So in Osaka, when you're using Google Maps, you will have to check the names of the stations and really check where the train is actually going based on the next station, for instance. It's not very complex, but you have to get used to it. And that's the weird part, that Japan doesn't have a centralized subway company, or so they're different. Yeah, so for instance, in Tokyo, there are multiple companies that are dealing with those subway lines. In Osaka, there are other companies. In Kyoto, like third companies, and etc. and etc. That's why they're a little bit different. But still, in Osaka, you just need to check the names of the stations and check which one is the next one, so to understand whether you're standing on the right side and whether you will be going to the right place, I would say. One side note about Shinkansen. So Shinkansen is the bullet trains. You have to buy the tickets separately. Of course, they're quite expensive. Traveling only with Shinkansen can break the budget, honestly. So I've checked the prices. So for instance, going from Tokyo to Kyoto was somewhere around like 260 euros back and forth. Way too expensive. And actually, you can take domestic flights. So there's a like airline from Japan called Peach, which has really good prices for domestic flights. So you can simply fly from Tokyo to Osaka or vice versa and save quite a lot of money. Well, the drawback that you need to go to the airport way in advance. You have to check in the airport specifically 1.5 hours before the flight. You check in the airport, but you can save some money if you travel domestically by plane. Of course, you cannot really get everywhere by plane, so you also need to take into account that and sometimes you won't have a choice and you will have to go with the Shinkansen bullet train. But of course, it's an experience of in its own.
One thing that I have actually forgot to mention is how much cash do you need in Japan? Because you might have heard that Japan is a cash-driven nation, so they might not accept cards. So in that kind of sense, they're technologically not so advanced than many European countries, by the way. But here I want to calm you down that they are already advanced. So during our travels, we paid absolutely everywhere besides two places with our cards. So Apple Pay, it works. Regular cards, contactless cards are widely accepted. Only like sometimes they will require you to put your card into the terminal. But really, do you need cash? You need cash where? For instance, if you're going to some sort of temple, there you might need cash. Or for instance, you want to buy a souvenir from a Japanese grandmother, then yes, then you will need cash. So we actually needed maybe like 100 euros, maybe a bit more or less during our travels. And for the rest of the things, we were simply paying with cards. And you can also use Suica. Remember that if you will have it on your phone or physically, you can pay with Suica as well. So don't worry, you don't need tons of cash in order to survive in Japan. Let me share with you something about food in Japan. So, of course, food is a necessity. No one can survive without food, right? And actually, Japanese cuisine, I think, is one of the best in the world. And actually, Japanese cuisine and overall Asian cuisine is my favorite. So, but of course, you need to know some things about the Japanese cuisine. So, when it comes to food in Japan, it is super affordable. So you don't really have to worry about will basically dining break the bank or something like that. No, it won't because it is super affordable. Just like, for instance, these cup noodles, not the original ones, unfortunately. So you can actually get these in Japan super cheap and they're quite delicious. But of course, you can get proper meals there as well. And when it comes to these meals, you can actually get them in 7-Eleven. It has amazing variety of Japanese food. Of course, in Japan, Japanese food. But most people actually expect from 7-Eleven that it will have like burgers, maybe some sort of like hot dogs. So nothing healthy. But in reality, I saw mostly healthy food like onigiris, okonomiyakis, sushi. So great, amazing, delicious food, and it is super cheap there. So if you don't know where to go, where to have like dinner, lunch, or you just want to grab something to eat, go to 7-Eleven in Japan. Or Lawson or other convenience store, the food there is simply amazing. So that's just a suggestion. Of course, go to restaurants. Also, they won't really break the bank like regular restaurants, honestly, because overall, food in Japan is affordable, even restaurants. So, comparing, for instance, prices to Latvia, where I live, so for instance, ramen here in Latvia will cost you minimum 10 euro. You know how much ramen costs, like regular ramen costs in Japan? Maybe write down your guesses in the comments. Drum roll, 3 euros. 3. It's around like 500 yen, 600 yen. That's around like 3-4 euros. So, and it's super delicious. It's super affordable, and that's in a sort of like restaurant. Yeah, so you don't have to really worry about food, that it would be expensive. So food won't break your bank at all. Of course, you can find expensive places when it comes to Kobe beef, Wagyu, or for instance, sushi made by a sous chef or sushi chef, not sure how they are called. So by like a professional that simply moisturizes like the tuna of that one sushi piece and then gives it to you. So that of course will cost you much more. But if you're not into that kind of dining, then you can eat all you want and still not break the bank. But when you want to go to a specific place, for instance, to have sushi or like the best ramen of your life, or get some takoyakis or okonomiyakis and that kind of things, of course, many people will rely on Google Maps and Google reviews. And when it comes to Japan, it's better to rely on a different source when it comes to food. So there is a website. I think there's also an app, but somehow I didn't really find that app. So I visited the website. It's called Tabelog. I guess it comes from tabemas, like basically eating in Japanese, so tabelog. And there you can check the different kinds of restaurants. There, Japanese people actually give you the score, the mark. And for a Japanese person, like 3 is already good. 4, it was amazing. And on very rare occasions, they give 5 out of 5, so like stars or whatever. So they surely will show the best places there in Tabelog. And when it comes to Google Maps, you will see tourists placing marks in the different places, but it might be the case that for tourists it's good, but like for Japanese one it is like it's no good. So Tabelog as well, check that out if you want to go dining to a specific place that serves specific food, and there you can see what Japanese actually like to eat. And of course, when the time will come for the number 1 and number 2, hopefully you got the joke, you will need to find a restroom. And of course, while traveling, this could be an actual hassle. There could be emergencies. And of course, you might be questioning, are there enough restrooms in Japan? How to find them? Are they clean? And etc. and etc. So thankfully, Japan is a super technologically advanced nation. So I believe a lot of people, before going to Japan, they know that they have electric toilets, seats with heating. They can simply wash clean. Overall, there are a lot of restrooms in Japan. They're quite easy to find. If you're in a restaurant, of course, you don't have to worry about it. But if something happens throughout your travels, it's quite easy to find a restroom. They are clean, and if you need to find a restroom quickly, well, there's an app for that. Imagine that. I think that there's an app for absolutely everything nowadays. So there's an actual app where you can find the nearest restroom. And of course, I'll leave it also in the description so you can download it before your travels.
And one last thing that you should take into account when you're visiting Japan is the language barrier. So when it comes to Japanese population, they don't really know English that well or don't know English at all. So you have to take this into account. But luckily, if we take, for instance, the names of stations, signs overall, those will be in English. But in order to communicate with the locals, you will have to use the regular Google Translate. You can also use DeepL in order to translate some sort of things, and I've used DeepL specifically. And you can also use ChatGPT and, for instance, really communicate with a person by setting up ChatGPT to translate back and forth the conversation. However, if you want to really show your respect to Japanese, you should also learn something in Japanese. So, for instance, in order to say hello, you can just say konnichiwa. If you want to go a bit further, you can also learn how is, for instance, good morning, like ohayo gozaimasu, or good evening, konbanwa. Yeah, so you can also learn that. Then again, if you want to order something somewhere, you need to know, well, the numbers, right? How much you want to order. So here it's a little bit tricky, because if you just check out the numbers in Japanese, you will get to know that, for instance, there's ichi, ni, san, yon. But when you're ordering food, it's a little bit different. So, for instance, ichi becomes hitotsu. Yes, completely different. So I don't know why, but yeah, maybe just learn up to 4. Hitotsu, futatsu, mitsu, yotsu. So this is like 1, 2, 3, 4. And in order to put it in a conversation, you can simply say sumimasen, Mizu o hitotsu kudasai. And that's basically, excuse me, one water, please. For instance, if you need to say sorry, it's sumimasen. It's excuse me if you, for instance, hit accidentally someone or you need to pass someone in a subway. By the way, speaking of the subway in Japanese is chikatetsu. And for instance, if you are looking for a subway station, you can simply ask sumimasen, chikatetsu wa doko desu ka? You can simply ask, excuse me, where is the subway? So, or for instance, if you're looking for a taxi, you can simply say the same, sumimasen, takushi wa doko desu ka? It's simply, excuse me, where's the taxi? So, and that kind of way, you can get around with these basic words and phrases in Japan. So there you have it. This is my ultimate guide to Japan. So hopefully this video will help you in your travels, and be sure to comment if I missed something. If you were in Japan, what was your experience? Maybe I missed something, maybe something has already changed. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!